Hello everyone, JRDL96 here with a brand new reaction video. As you can tell by the title, it's another Markiplier video, and it's an old video from like 6 months ago. It's just simply called Pain, and in this video I think Mark describes the worst pain that he's ever been in his life, and I think it involves the surgery that he had when he had the tumor and the appendicitis, when he had to get his appendix removed. Which meant that he, like, it's obviously, you see the scar on his freaking stomach in the Tasteful Nudes calendar especially, even he said it himself. But it involves like something that they gave him the wrong medication and stuff, so hell, I even have a story about the worst pain I've ever been in my life, but I'll get to that later. But first, let's react to this video, okay? So without further ado, let's react to this video, shall we?
What is the worst pain that you've ever been in your life? Like, honestly, ask yourself, what is the worst pain that you've ever been in?
I already know my answer.
Everyone's been through pain. Like, of some degree, some level. Like, no one has had the worst pain. Because there's always someone that... Like, the people in the medieval ages, when they've been in the Iron Maiden for 30 days, or the cow thing, where they get boiled alive.
Oh, God.
The worst physical pain
old school
I've
torture.
ever been in my life was...
Or death.
After my surgery. And then, to manage my pain, they had me in an epidural. What an epidural is, it's a tap directly into your spinal column at a certain vertebra that injects painkiller and anesthesia directly into your spinal column. So it makes everything from that point down numb. So you can't feel a lot of it. So I had an epidural to manage that pain. But it was like,
paralysis?
It wasn't enough, number one, right off the bat. And then number two, it was making my legs numb, so I couldn't walk.
Yeah,
and that was a big
paralysis.
problem, so I couldn't move at all. I was like, this is weird, but I'll deal with it. I was going to be bedridden for like 2 weeks anyway, in the hospital. Basically, the nurse and the doctors were like, we'll change the stuff. Like, we want you to like be able to walk and stuff. So they changed my pain medication in the epidural to something different, because it's just like a big bag in a machine that slowly injects it over time. So they were going to change it so it increased the painkiller and decreased the anesthesia, but there was a mistake in the pharmacy.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
decreased the anesthesia and decreased the painkiller. So when they brought me the new bag, I was on no numbing agent and no painkiller.
Oh.
Like basically a saline drip into my spine. And so I started telling the doctors that I was in a lot of pain, like a lot of pain. And nurses and doctors would keep coming in, and they would look at the machine and they'd be like, no, it's fine, look, it's fine. You've got no problems with it, it's totally fine. It's giving you medicine at the rate that we wanted to give you, and there's no issues with it. So what it came down to was I started more and more just being like,
hello,
nurse, I am in incredible,
so much pain. Hello,
pain.
I think the medication is shit.
Huge gash in my abdomen that's not being medicated at all. It's like I got stabbed with a 6-inch sword. It really fucking hurts, and no one would believe me. No one. Not like the nurses that I was with. They kind of believed me. They kept going to the doctors, but the doctors did not believe me. And it got to the worst point where a doctor actually came in the room. He was obviously pissed off and just like, this guy's just trying to get
this piece of shit
pain medication. And he comes in, and I'm lying in the bed. You know, I'm just in agony. And he comes up to me, and he just grabs, full-on grabs with his hand into my incision. My incision is from here to here.
Yep.
Like that line, that's the incision. And he just grabs around it, and he starts feeling for bleeding, because he's like, maybe there's bleeding, and he's feeling around. And he just grabs onto it, and I just start screaming. Like, just screaming in agony, because it is the most painful thing. And
obviously, if you rip, they tear it open, they take out the tumor and appendix.
Weeping tears, it is just the most agonizing thing. He didn't do it out of maliciousness.
No.
He did it because he was
wanted to test, make sure.
So he was grabbing to feel as if the incision was out, like he was palpating just to see if there was something wrong with it. And he might have been doing it aggressively, but then anything that he was pissed would have been incredibly painful. And so afterwards, he left the room. He ordered that I needed to have Valium, because he didn't want to give me more painkillers, but he wanted to give me Valium to like relax me and put me to sleep and just like knock me out.
Just shut him off.
For those of you who know, when I was doing drunk Minecraft, sometimes when I would get drunk, and my face would flush like with blood, I would get this splotchy mark on my neck, like right here, and that's because that's a scar. When they gave me Valium, they wanted me to knock me out, but I also had a central line in my neck, an arterial line in my neck, And what that is it's a line that ties in directly to your artery, so it can measure your heart rate, blood pressure, and probably other things that I don't know about. But when I was on Valium, and I don't remember doing this at all, I was so out of it that I dug into my neck.
Oh!
I literally clawed and pulled, scratched, and scraped my neck until I pulled the central line out of my neck.
Oh, no.
Incredibly. And then they rushed in, they fixed me. I don't remember any of this.
Alright, my large truck, relax.
I don't remember doing it. I don't remember feeling it. I don't remember.
Okay, Clint Moore, Chuck, what are you doing?
All I remember is that, like, when I finally came to, I had a huge, like, splotchy mark on my neck, and they were mad at me because I wasn't supposed to do that. So around that time, like, I was off the I faded out of the Valium. Ooh, shit.
Oh shit!
I was off the Valium, and it was like 3 or something in the morning. I was at my wit's end because it had been almost 24 hours that I was in incredible pain.
Oh my god!
I was in pain again, and it was just like this never-ending nightmare of pain. No one believed me. I was in the worst pain I've ever felt in my life, and no one believed me. Which, like, my family were like berating the doctor. My mom, you guys have seen my mom. My mom was so mad, like, because she was a nurse. Like, she's a nurse, and she knows this shit. So she's just like constantly just like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, something's wrong. Please, please, please. So it was like 4 in the morning, and this nurse came in, and I called the nurse again because the Valium wore off, and I was just like, please, I'm in so much pain. Like, I was crying tears. I was begging. I had nothing left. I just wanted something, some reprieve, someone to believe me, and I was crying, and I remember I looked over to her, and I said to her, I don't want to die. Like, I think
oh my god!
I'm dying. Like, this feels like I'm dying. And like, I remember, like, I was crying, and even this nurse was broken up about this. Like, this nurse was literally crying, and it's just because the doctors didn't want to give me anything else. And it wasn't until around morning, when the shifts changed and a new doctor came in, that the pharmacy realized that there was a mistake. The pharmacy said, like, a doctor actually checked the prescription itself with the pharmacy, and the pharmacy was like, oh, we dropped the anesthesia and the painkiller, because I think it was when they were going to get a new bag. Like, they were going to get a new bag of medicine, and it was supposed to be changed out, and then they were like, oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. And so, after that, it was an immediate shift in tone, like, word.
Well, okay, we fucked up. I'm sorry. Sorry we scolded you, Mark.
How drastically it changed. They skipped out, they completely forgot about the epidural, and they just went straight to giving me Dilaudid. Now, Dilaudid is also known as hydromorphone. It is a substance, a derivative of morphine, that is 10 times stronger than morphine.
No.
And they gave me Dilaudid every hour on the hour to manage my pain. That is how much painkiller I needed, and that's how much painkiller I would have gone without. And it was better after that. It was better.
Yeah, obviously.
It was much better.
Painkiller came in.
Being on Dilaudid was very, very much better. And so it was, from then on, it was like this weird fugue state of being like, I was just through hell. For 24 hours, I was through hell. And I was in this weird moment where I realized that was rock bottom. Yeah, that was rock bottom for me. And so when I had that realization that was rock bottom, it was kind of freeing. I realized, like, I had been through pain. Unbelievable pain that I'd never experienced before in my entire existence, and yet I was still there. And I was fine, and I was going to be fine. Like, I was through it, and I was gonna be fine. And like, I know that a lot of people were like, you should have sued, or my mom, my friends, my family, they were like, you should have sued. Like, I could have, and I had every legitimate reason to do that, but even then, I was just like, I don't.
They would have fucking, like, you would have lost anyway, I don't know. Like, they would have done some bullshit.
That to be the defining thing.
Because that reminds me of that one case about that 3-year-old baby that
I didn't want
they fucked up about, and they're like, let's just blame the parents.
My takeaway from that pained experience, like, it's not something that I wanted to blame anyone about. I didn't want to blame myself. I didn't want to blame any of the doctors. Like, I didn't want to place fault on it. That wasn't my priority. My priority was, after that, I had this like clear intention that I needed to do something with my life. I needed to make myself better. I needed to take control in some way, shape, or form, because I knew that life was always going to throw me curveballs and always going to knock me down and always going to put me through pain, and I probably was going to be in more pain at some point in my life that was even worse, and like there have been many people that have been through worse pain than that, and I have to keep that in perspective to the goals that I have to try to improve myself, because I only have control over my own life, and even that is up to debate. Like, it's something where I saw potential roads of where I could have been. I saw different paths that my life could have taken, and I saw different ways that I could have lived my life, and I chose the one that allowed me to feel proud of who I was as a person, that led me to the road where I could believe that I had some semblance of control of my own destiny. Like, forgetting the things that aren't in my control, not worrying about the things that happened in the past that knocked me down, and moving forward and always keeping my eyes on the horizon to know that I can improve myself until eventually I die. It was very freeing. Because I've been through pain before. I've been through a lot of pain before. I like, as a kid, you guys probably know, I had a jumping off the top of the stairs contest with my brother. And I cracked my head open.
I was going to win.
So I cracked my head open, and it split and bled so much that it filled like a whole bath towel with blood. My dad was like, "You're dying!" And I'm like, "Oh,
I'm sorry, you're dying."
I feel woozy. Like, it was one of those situations. But I don't remember that being overly painful. I just got stitches, and I remember being in the doctor's office, and my dad told me about this. I put the like, they had this little like gown thing, but it had like a front bib, so I turned it around and I wore it as a cape. I was like, superhero. Like, I was 8 years old at the time, but I was on the doctor's table. I was like, "Yo, superhero dad," and like he really remembered that very fondly about me. And he was just like, "Man,
he got stitches in his head."
And so, like,
ironically,
I don't take away anything.
Thing is, I never got stitches in my life either. I never got stitches in my life so far. I might someday, but I don't know when.
When I broke my arm later on, I was about maybe 13 or 12 at the time. Maybe
I'm gonna jump off the monkey bar contest.
I broke my arm.
And then try to put it back into place.
Out the monkey bars, can you jump contest? And I was gonna win, but I went out too far. And
I was gonna win, but I lost. I broke my arm.
And I broke both bones in this arm, and it was like a stair step. Like, my arm went here, and then my hand was up here. So it was just this weird, like, thing. So I remember getting up from the ground, and I don't remember being in a lot of pain.
Because probably the adrenaline.
Obviously, I was like, "Something's wrong! Something's wrong!"
The adrenaline.
And so I don't even know why I did it, but my first instinct was just
to put it back together?
That's not right. I know what it's supposed to look like, so I'm going to fix it. So I grabbed the broken bone, and I set it back into place. And then it started hurting. That's when it started hurting. So I was like, "Oh, Thomas, it hurts real bad."
His brother.
It hurts real bad. So, like, that's when it hurt. It was like that sickening pain where you feel like you're gonna vomit. Like, it was like that was the earliest moment in my life when I was like, that
fucking hurt
real bad. Apparently, I did a good job, because after
the doctor's like, "Oh, yeah."
the hospital, and the doctor
I remember
said,
this.
"Hey, you
did fine.
You did a pretty good job. You almost got it perfect. You almost got it right. It's just a little off. Here, I'll fix that for you." And then he immediately
that had to hurt.
my arm again to reset it back into place.
Oh, that had to hurt.
Why didn't I do it perfect? And that's why I'm a perfectionist. I don't remember any negative takeaways about that. Like, I remember afterwards, I was, we went back home. It was when we were living in a very small place, a downsized from our childhood home. Because my mom and dad got divorced, and we had to move. Obviously, we couldn't, like, finance the house anymore. And so we moved into this small town home. It wasn't bad in any way, shape, or form, but I remember going there. It was one of the first times we were there. It was, like, within the first month or two. And I was in my bed, and, like, the doctor wrote us a prescription, but most pharmacies were closed. Like, there wasn't really a 24-hour pharmacy in the area. And, like, I told my dad that I was like, "I'm fine, you don't have to go. I can wait until morning. Like, I can sleep for this."
Oh, I can't.
Get painkillers. My dad was like, "Are you sure?" And, like, he sent. I went to bed. I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure." I closed the door and I went to bed. And I'm pretty sure I was probably crying in my bed. because like it hurt obviously, and I was crying in my bed, and then my dad just like opened up the door, and I was like, it must have been like 10 seconds from when he closed the door.
He probably just listened, heard you crying.
Get painkillers, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I want painkillers. I remember very sadly going like, yeah, no, I want it. And it was like, then my dad just went out and got, like, he drove like 40-some minutes away to a pharmacy, and I just remember the 2 hours until he got back. I was just like, it's never gonna end. Agony, unbelievable agony. Like, oh, it's the worst thing. And then he came back, and like, I think they gave me like, I don't know, like something like Vicodin or something like that. And it was just like, as a kid, I've never had anything like that before. So it was my first experience with painkillers, and I was like, okay, it's better now. Like, just like, I'm very sleepy, and then I just went to sleep. Like, I don't remember any negative takeaways from it. I don't remember any negative takeaways at all from it. I remember being frustrated because it was really hard to like sharpen my pencil with my arm like that, because I can't turn the thing. I couldn't like get my
the old school
like,
shit.
Out of the locker, but that kind of worked out well because
not the electronic ones.
My best friends in high school and school in general, they became my friends because they saw that I was having trouble with my broken arm, and they were like, "Let me help you with that." And it was like, "Oh, that's so nice." And then like I became friends with a lot of people. I think Drew Thiel was the first person that like really came up to me from that, and then I got into band because of that, and it was like, oh, that wasn't really so bad. I mean, even if it didn't lead to me gaining friends like that, like I don't think it would have been bad at all. I only got to this point because of the trials and tribulations that I've been through, and even through my college years, like up until the point where I had that surgery that I told you about, the tumor removal surgery, when that was in 2011, I believe, and before that, like, I was still not sure who I was. Even after that, I wasn't sure who I was. Like
that was 2011. The surgery.
Myself as a person until maybe a couple years ago, like maybe a few years ago. Like it was hard, very hard, and honestly, pain was a big motivator for it. Pain was a big like resolution for it. Pain was a good way of encapsulating it, but only because of my attitude that I took away from the pain. There's and this doesn't apply to everybody, of course. There's certain pains that you can't just like, I'm gonna have a positive attitude about it, but it's
PMA
attitude about it. Like when it comes to pain, I wasn't happy that I had pain. Like when I burnt my hands. This was I had a lot of I was cooking chicken wings, and I was heating the pot with the oil in it, and I had my thermometer in there, and the thermometer broke, which was stupid because the thermometer was supposed to go up to like 800 degrees, so mercury got in the pot. So I'm like, fuck, I can't cook in this. Like mercury's in there, that'll kill me. So I stupidly put it in the sink, and I'm like, I was gonna dump it, and I'm like, oh, I can't dump this down the drains. That'll be horrible. It's so hot. So I'll cool it down first. So
water and oil don't mix.
The faucet. Dump water straight into the 600-degree oil.
Yeah, don't mix.
It instantly flashes. The oil bubbles over, spills all over my hands. 2nd and 3rd degree burns.
Oh, I remember putting my hand in boiling water because I dropped something in it.
Come on, focus. Right there.
Oh shit!
Scarring there and stuff like that. But I had 2nd and 3rd degree burns on my hands. So, yeah, lesson to the wise. Don't put water on grease. Don't put water in hot oil. But I was stupid.
It could cause a grease fire to burn your house down if you do that.
I remember I must have dropped it, fell, and screamed, because my brother was coming up running the stairs, and he's like, what happened? And I remember, like, I was sprinting to the bathroom with my hands, like, in front of my face, and I was just like, ah! And then he was up the stairs like, what happened? And I remember running past him, like, Doppler effect and everything, just like, I burned my hands! And then in the bathroom, and I dunked my hands underwater. And it was so funny at first, because I was just like, the adrenaline was like, ah! And I was like, oh, I'm fine. Like, and then, like, I had my hands under the water, and I was just like, oh, man, Thomas, I'm so stupid. Like, I put water in oil, and then the pain started coming, and I was like, ooh. And then it was this weird, like pulsating pain. It would come in like 5-second bursts, and my hands would cramp up for 5 seconds and then release for 5 seconds. It was very rhythmic and very weird. Like, and that's when the pain would happen. Like, it hurt, like, overall, but then it would be like,
it just turns it up to a notch, turns it up a notch.
And it would be like that cycle. And so my brother drove me to the hospital, and I was up at the emergency room waiting counter. I'm like, I'm in pain. I burnt my hands. And then they're like, please fill out this form. And I'm like, I can't write. I burnt my hands. And it's just like, please just go over, sit over there, burn the hands. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna go stand outside because I want to walk around because I burnt my hands. It's just like so much agony. Like there were huge boils on my hand. Like my hand was like out to here.
Blisters and shit.
Boil and it's like, and then finally some nurse like behind in the triage unit. You know, the triage is like how they prioritize people, and the nurse is like, get the fuck back there! Like get back there! And so I go back to the emergency room little rooms there, and they put me on a table, and then they make the stupid mistake of they put a blood pressure cuff on my arm, and that's bad when you have pain in your hand because the blood pressure cuff squeezes it, cuts off circulation, and forces blood down into the hand. So it was just like, it hurts real bad. This hurts. This hurts. My hands. The hands that are burnt. And I'm like, it hurts real bad. And so they basically it wasn't until an actual doctor came in that the doctor was like,
oh shit!
Saw this on my arm, saw me in pain, saw the boys, and was like, shit! I remember the panic on her face. I distinctly remember the panic. Because she's like, she pulls the curtain back, the emergency room was like, owie, my arm, or like, owie, oh, my stomach, or, occasionally, if someone actually had a problem, they're rushed in on a gurney, blood everywhere, and they're sprinting in. So usually when they pull back the curtain, it's not like a, situation. So she pulls back the curtain and it's just like, whoa! Like, oh, shit! Because I had to be ambulanced over to another hospital because the emergency room I went to didn't have a burn ward. So I went to the Cincinnati Children's Hospital for the
How old were you when this happened?
It was just this fascinating experience where I'd never been in an ambulance before. I now had morphine, so I was fine. And so I was like, it's all good. And like, I distinctly remember, like, even that pain was pretty up there. Like, if anyone asked me on a 1 to 10 scale, that was a 10 pain. Like, if anyone asked me at the time, that was a 10 pain. I didn't know that I was going to have more pain down my life, but I was like, that was a 10 pain.
Before, I guess, the surgery.
Every pain up until that point, I would gladly say, I would do that again. Like, I don't care. Like, I would do that again. Not voluntarily, but if I had to, like, I know I could go through that again and I'd be fine. Like, even there, because I remember what happened was my mom finally got off work and she came over to the hospital at the other hospital because I believe she was working as a nurse at the time, so she was nearby in the Cincinnati Children's Hospital, just in a different department. So she came over and she was like, brought me McDonald's, and I remember like I couldn't exactly hold it well, but I could hold it with like my rested on my thumbs and hold them with my fingers. I had bandages up all down my arm now. And I remember I was just watching TV and just munching on a burger, and I'm like, this ain't so bad.
Who holds a burger like that?
That was me. I was just,
it's a Big Mac.
Not so bad. Beep, boop, nurse, more morphine, please. It's just like, but what sucked after that was they sent me home. Obviously, I had to go home. It's not like I needed to rest in the hospital. They kept me 2 days there, just in case. They sent me home. They sent me home with a big old batch of, like a big tub of bacitracin, which is basically Neosporin. And every day, I had to change out my bandages twice a day. And they said it was very important that I change my bandages twice a day for the healing process, or else like it would be heavily scarred, disfigured, and stuff like that. And I was like, fuck that shit, I don't want disfigured hands, so I'm gonna do this every fucking day. So I did, and that hurt like a bitch, because when you're healing from a burn wound, like it's very important to keep it like clean, moist, and well bandaged. So you don't want air getting in there. You don't want anything like that. So I would have to.
I got some burn marks here.
Rip the bandages.
I got a burn mark here from
to the newly
work.
So
even here.
Every single day, twice a day.
Not a bad one. Not as bad as
skin
that, but it was just
entire palm on both hands, like this entire section down to here. There was some burns up here. I would rip the bandage off and hope that the skin wouldn't rip with it, and it was like a 50-50 shot of whether it was or was not going to happen. So I'd rip it off. Hurt like a motherfucker. I had painkillers, obviously, but, it still hurt. I remember, like, 30 minutes before I had to do it, I would pop a painkiller and be like, and I
you just prep yourself mentally, like, oh, fuck,
like,
it's going to hurt like a motherfucker.
And then I would put the bacitracin on. I would make sure it's really well rubbed in there. I would put one layer of the topical bandage, and then I would put the gauze over that, and I had these big mummy hands. I have a picture somewhere of it, but I don't remember where it is. One of my friends probably has it. I don't know. It just never had any impact on me as a person and me as like a human being. It was another experience where I was like, that sucked, but I could do it again. Like I could easily do it again. And it wasn't until, you know, I had my tumor removed and I had pain beyond the threshold that I knew I could tolerate. It was pain that forced me into a mindset of desperation, of just sheer panic, of not knowing if I was going to even survive it. Like pain beyond pain for longer than I ever could have imagined myself tolerating. That I had this like realization that, you know, I am very temporary. I am unbelievably temporary. All of us are exceptionally temporary. We have very little control of the forces around us. We have less control than we think we do. And I could have used that mindset to go into a pit of despair and realize futility, and I could easily see myself taking away futility from that and going through this experience and being like, what's the point? Like, life is pain and stuff like that. But I didn't, because it completely disagreed with like what I wanted out of life. Like the temporary nature of life really was kind of freeing. It wasn't a bad thought. It wasn't negative at all. It was a good thought. It was a good thought, because if everything was temporary, then I only have a limited amount of time to make a difference in the world. I only have a limited amount of time to make a difference in myself. I only have so much time to be the person that I want to be. I only have so much time to do the things that I want to do. I only have so much time to exist.
He's got so much time.
And like the only thing that will be there when I'm gone is what I've left behind. And I want to leave behind the best things that I possibly can. I want to leave behind a trail of people that are inspired by what I did. I want to leave behind the works that I've made. I want to leave behind the inspiration for other people to strive harder than they've ever striven before, and to go farther than they ever thought they could, because I didn't think I could go very far. You know, I thought I'd do well. I thought I'd be like okay, but it wasn't until that moment. The moment that I saw that things were in my control. Not everything. Not everything. Not everything can be in your control. Very little things can, but there were some things that I could control. There were things that I could learn. There were things that I could practice. There were things that I could do. Things that were within my realm of possibility, my potential. The potential that, you know, others saw in me, you know, I never recognized. And it was in that moment that I saw the potential that I had in myself. You know, I recognized that, you know, people had said that I had a good voice for a while, and I was like, maybe I can do something with that. You know, my brother was an artist, and I was like, maybe there's some art potential in me. You know, my inspirations I draw from YouTube, I see that, and I'm like, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can do that. And it's just like those simple ideas, that simple change of mindset. Even then, I didn't realize what it was, and I didn't realize where it was going to lead me. All I realized was that, like, maybe I can do something. Maybe I can, I don't know. Maybe I could just show myself that I have some potential, and that I can act upon it, and that I can change my life, and I can improve where I am. That's the entire song of my life, is just, I'm going to try, and I'm going to try, and I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail a lot. I'm going to fail a lot, but that's never going to stop me trying. No one's ever going to put me down, because no one's ever been through what I've been through. No one knows the pain that I've been through. And no one knows how far I'm willing to go to do what I want to do. Pain doesn't define you. It's how you respond to the pain that defines you. It's what you take away from that defines you. It's how you move forward in your life from pain that defines you, whether that's emotional or physical. I don't believe in the benefits of revenge. I don't believe that it leads to anything. I'm a big proponent of forgiveness, and which is odd because I'm a very spiteful person, but not excessively, like just about as much as anybody else. But it's just like pain. It's so easy to lay blame for pain. It's so easy to point fingers when pain happens. It's so easy to point fingers, especially at yourself. Like, you can point fingers at yourself for pain. And that's a self-destructive cycle. All of it is. Like, it's a self-destructive cycle. It will never get better if you're always seeking a release for anger. If anger is your only release for pain, then anger is all that you'll have. It's like a muscle that you train. You'll only ever have more of what you put out from it. You have more control over it than you think. There are some things that you don't have control over, obviously. Like, I'm not saying depression is just something that you can control. I would never say that. But there are, like, takeaways that you can take. You don't even have to be positive about it, because I sure as shit wasn't positive when I was coming out of those surgeries. I was fucking angry. I was fucking pissed off, but I wasn't pissed off at any one person. I wasn't pissed off at life. I wasn't pissed off at, like, things. I was pissed off that I didn't take chances. I was pissed off that I'd gotten to this point without having done anything. I was pissed off because this could have been the end of me. That could have been the end of me. You know, I'm not saying don't come out of pain all smiling like, yes, and more, please. Like, don't do that. That's fucking stupid. Come out of it with a rationalization that you don't need to point fingers. All you need to do is take the steps forward that push you to what you want. Never let anything be taken for granted. Don't let any moment get away from you. Don't let a single second get away from you. Because I was nothing. In my eyes, I was nothing. I was just an average, like everything.
An average Joe.
Potential, didn't act upon it. I was the sob story of wasted potential, you know. And a lot of people, you know, can relate to that in some way.
That's me.
I was okay with that. And a lot of people can be okay with that, and that's fine. But if you just take a moment to try, and you take a moment to go just a little bit farther, like, absolutely anything's possible. Yeah, no one is ever nothing.
We just happen to do that at the same time. That's it. Well, so he told the multiple stories, and one of the stories I knew was the surgery one, where they gave him the wrong medication, and pretty much the painkiller power was just dropped down to 0, and he had to deal with 24 hours worth of fucking pain, to the point where doctors didn't even believe him, and they had to grab his stomach, like, to check, and it still was just nothing. But man, that had to be hell for him. And obviously it was the point where he realized, what do I do? What do I want to do? That was the rock, again, he said, that was his rock bottom for him. Now, I'm not going to say that the moment that I'm going to tell is my rock bottom, because I don't have one that I can recall. But maybe 2016 was probably my rock bottom for me. I'll say that. But then also he told about those stories about when he was young and stupid, and he rolled down the stairs, cracked his head open, and then when he broke his arm, and he tried to put it back in place, and the doctor's like, "Oh, you did a good job, but you almost got it back to normal." And then when he burned his hands with when cooking chicken wings, the dummy. But yeah, pretty interesting stuff that he talked about. And now let me talk about the worst pain I have ever been in my life. I don't know if you want to say that this is probably the worst pain you've ever been in your life. Maybe you have something similar to this, but this happened in August of 2014. This was the summer, and I just graduated high school, and I wanted to get a tattoo. That's what I always wanted. I always wanted a tattoo. Like, I wanted to see what that would be like. And believe me, it's not that. Getting a tattoo ain't the worst. Yeah, it is pretty painful, but at first I felt like, it wasn't as bad as I thought. But when it gets near bone, it gets a little bad, and it got to the point where I told him, I was kind of looking at him like, okay, I think that's good enough. I kind of gave him a look like, yeah, that's good. But yeah, if you don't know, I got a tattoo back in 2014. Here it is. Nice, pretty nice tattoo. But the pain came afterward. And that involved something serious. And that was something called MRSA, which is another way of saying staph infection. Now, I don't know what, I don't want to point fingers at anybody. I'm not going to try to do that. It could be a combination of many things. Maybe I didn't take care of it as much. Maybe I went to the tattoo parlor that wasn't really cleaned. But then again, if I think that, then I would think, because here's the weird thing. My dad went to the same guy the very next day, and he was fine. He didn't have any problem. But I guess I just did maybe too much. I probably put too much, like, cream on, whatever. Because it feels like a sunburn when you get a tattoo. It feels like a sunburn afterward. But, and this is around the time when I started working at my current job at a supermarket. So the thing was, here, like, maybe a week and a half goes by, and I start to see these pimple-like boils start to form on the tattoo. One of them formed on the tattoo, and I'm like, the fuck? So I do the dumb thing of popping it and shit, and whatever. Then another one formed around here. You could probably see like a little bit of like a little like cut off of the tattoo of what it was supposed to be. And then another one formed around here. Around here. Another thing formed around here. This one was the worst. Oh my god. Especially when I'm a righty and when I'm at the supermarket cutting cold cuts, because I work at the deli department part of the supermarket I work at, and I'm doing this with the slicer. Oh my god, it was the worst pain I ever been. I didn't even know what the fuck was happening. I didn't know what was happening. I was confused. I didn't know what was going on. And I was just wondering what the fuck happened. What is happening? This is what I have to deal with tattoos now? Like, these weird thoughts in my head. I'm like thinking to myself, what's going on? It got to the point where I was almost on the verge of crying, because it was that painful, like doing, and when I couldn't even lift my arm all the way up without being in so much pain. It was so painful to do even this, like hold all the way up. Really, really painful. And it got to the point where I didn't know what was going on. And then one day, when I started college, my first week of college, I think it was my second day, I decided to go to the nurse office to get a new bandage, because my bandage was just falling apart. So, and they asked me, where do you need to put it? And I showed them, and I knew they were going to say something. I kind of had a feeling that they were going to say something, because they probably had an idea what was going on. And they looked at it like, oh, fuck. And they kind of like had that same reaction like Mark's nurse had. Oh, that's bad. That's infected. You have to go to the doctor. You may have to go to the doctor immediately. And I didn't realize what was happening. Like, I didn't know. All I knew was it was an infection. And I was kind of confused. I was like wondering what was happening. And then finally I got the wake-up call from them saying, it's an infection, dude. You have to go to the doctor. I wasn't trying to ignore it or anything. I just didn't know what it was. So I'm trying to like brush it off like, maybe just a pimple that formed ironically there. Okay. A few of them. Okay. Let me just go on with my life. but it just kept going, and it might have gotten worse. It got more to the point where some of my veins around here starting to blacken. That's how bad it was. I thought that was like trauma from the tattoo, from getting it, and it turned out it might have been from the infection. So I go to the doctor, they look at it, they stick a Q-tip on it, onto some of on the wound, and they got the results, and they prescribed me with some pretty powerful medication that I had to take one thing in the morning, with also this Danimal-like drink, yogurt / drink, because that's supposed to make sure you're not going to have the runs, the drizzling shits later at night. And I had to take another pill at night. And obviously squeezing all the shit out of the fucking wound, out of these pimple-like things, was just worse. It was just unbelievably bad. But overall, it was just a excruciating thing, and they got the results, and it turned out to be a staph infection. And I'm like, how the fuck did I get that? I'm trying to figure it out myself, and honestly, I may never know the answer to that question. But honestly, now I'm kind of like contemplating with myself if I should get another tattoo, because I don't want to go through the bullshit of what happened with this. So I don't know what I'm going to do. But my aunt, who is a doctor, she said if you do get another tattoo, because I've always been thinking about getting another tattoo. I'm just trying to be. I'm not trying to say I don't want to get another. I may not get another tattoo because of that. I'm just trying to be precautious about it and be careful this time, because I may not have been as careful as I was the first time when I got this. So again, my aunt said, if you do get another tattoo, I will prescribe you with the medication just in case something happens. It might have been just a combination of me not taking care of it too much, or not taking care of it as much, or the tattoo parlor I ended up going to was just a mess, and the needles weren't cleaned. It could have been many, many things. And also, the other thing that they have to also prescribe me was this soap-like thing, bottle of soap thing that they gave me. It's supposed to be like a cleanse. It's supposed to make your skin bone dry to remove any of the remnants of the staph infection that has somehow moved somewhere else in my body. It was some kind of like trying a way to get rid of it or something. I have no idea. It was some weird thing. Like it's a cleanser that makes your skin bone dry, I guess, to rid the remnants of the staph infection that are somewhere else, that move somewhere else to try to form. So now I may have that somewhere in my body, because they even said, like, if you waited a little longer, you could have lost your arm. That's how bad it was. And there is some videos in I think it was one of my old unboxing videos from like years ago. It was a WWE one, and I'm wearing a CM Punk white t-shirt, and it's pretty hard to see, but if you look at my left side, like my right shoulder or the left shoulder, you will kind of see some weird thing on my arm, on my shoulder. That's when I had the bandages, that was when I was on that medication. I didn't want to say anything because I just wanted to keep it to myself, because I didn't want to tell anybody my life story. But overall, it wasn't fun. It wasn't a fun experience, and it kind of was pretty much a lesson to learn. Like, just be careful next time. It was a good lesson to learn. Like, be careful on what tattoo parlor you go to, because it may not be clean enough, and you may end up with something bad like a staph infection. If you don't really know what's happening to you, you may end up losing your damn arm. They told me that I could have lost my arm. That's what one of the doctors said. If you waited a long, like one of the nurses at the school that I went to, if you waited a lot, if you wait longer, you could lose your arm. And I'm like, oh shit, this is serious. Okay, that was like the realization. I thought I didn't realize. Oh, this is serious. So that was my story of the worst pain I've ever been in my life. May not be on the level of Mark's pain, especially when you are not on painkiller after getting your fucking tumor and appendix removed in surgery. Not on that level, but I'm trying to relate here, since people like to do that, but yeah, it wasn't fun. But if you want to talk about rock bottom for me, 2016 was my rock bottom because I wanted to do YouTube, because back then, I've said this in my Q&A video recently, that my original idea for a dream job was to be a meteorologist, a weatherman. And I kind of ran with that for a while, and eventually kind of started to lose interest, because it didn't feel like something that I would really be confident in doing, and would really want to do. And when I started to really get into YouTube very much so, and started to watch certain videos, like unboxing videos and reaction videos and creepypasta readings and gaming videos, etc., I started to really get that interest and inspiration to do that myself. And I started doing YouTube when I was in high school, when I was a sophomore in high school. I started doing videos in August of 2011. So I've been doing this for nearly 7.5 years, and I was kind of like not really into it, like really focusing on it, but just posting spamming videos, so many videos a day. Wasn't smart, but it was just lessons to learn, like just to post not too frequently, but just at least one video a day is good enough. I didn't learn that until 2017. Like, I decided, you know what, maybe I should really focus on that, because in 2016 was when I was really kind of like chomping at the bit, because 2 years have gone by and I really wanted to focus on my YouTube stuff, but I had school in my way. I had college in my way. And the college I was going to wasn't really helping me in what I wanted to do. It felt like I was not in control of what I was doing. Like, the college that I was going to, it was just giving me the basic education stuff, like the normal stuff that you would get. Like, I wanted to be in classes that were somewhat related to what I wanted to do, which was this, video editing or whatever. And none of that was happening. No class had that. Like they weren't giving me those classes. And they were just giving me English 101 and Math 001 and just the same shit I'd done in high school. Maybe it's because of probably the college I went to, which was a community college. But still, they were still doing that, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I here? The reason why I wanted to go to college to begin with was to help me with what I wanted to do. And they weren't doing it. They were just giving me the same shit, because maybe I was being a little bit of an idiot myself and kind of like slacking a little bit. But still, I just wanted to do more with YouTube, because I started to realize, why am I going to school for this? Why am I going to school for this? I could just learn it on my own. I already know what I'm doing. I could just do it myself. And then in 2016 was kind of like the year I was really rock bottom for me. It was really rock bottom for me. Because it was the worst year for me YouTube-wise. I really didn't have enough chance to really post anything. It was just really focusing on school because I was being forced to. I was forcing myself to do school when I really wanted to do YouTube and do videos. And after that semester, like the semester of the fall 2016 semester, that's when I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm done. I'm done with school. Fuck that. I'm done. I don't care. I'm going to go focus on YouTube because I know what I want to do. And yeah, my parents were kind of like a little questioning me about my reasoning, and they asked me, what if this doesn't work out? And I'm like, I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on getting everything done now before it's too late. Because you know how YouTube has been changing their policies in the last few years. It feels like there's always roadblocks in my way. And school was pretty much my roadblock for me. It really didn't work out for me. May not have been the best idea for me. But overall, that was when I decided, that was my rock bottom. And that's when I decided, maybe I need to be in control of what I want to do. Maybe I need to make my decision. Make my own decisions about this. And I know, even my parents started to even give me this ultimatum stuff. Like school or the military. And I'm like, that's not going to help. Where's the third option? And I took this 4-week class for filming. And I kind of learned some stuff about it. But overall, that's all I did. Wise. And hell, I believe I've improved a lot in the last 2 years. It's still a slow progress. I know that. It's not easy to grow an audience. Hell, it's not even easy. But I know the grind. I'm willing to take that risk. I'm willing to take that. And I want to really, just like Mark, leave a legacy behind. And leave a lot of stuff, leave a lot of people inspired to strive better. I want to motivate people. I want to inspire people. I want to grow a community. And I want to be a good person. So, I'll leave you with this. If you want to do something, go for it. So that is officially it on this long video. Hope you learned something from that. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's reaction. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, share this video with your friends. Be sure to ring that bell to be part of the notification squad. Be sure to also check out my Instagram because I make collabs with Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, even myself. I also do reenactments and cosplays on there, so go check it out. Be sure to also check out my Tumblr, it's in the description as well. So until next time, JRDL96 signing out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!